Hi, my name is Risa Green, and I've written 3 adult novels, and I have a new young adult novel called The Secret Society of the Pink Crystal Ball, which will be released in September 2010. I decided to start writing YA for a few reasons. First, for me, the adult market it's hard. Right now, everything's about young adult, and I've got a lot of experience with teenagers. I used to be a high school, college counselor. I feel like I know teens, and I was a teen. Everybody was a teen. It's an experience that everyone's been through, and I think in that sense it makes it a little bit easier and a little bit more fun to write about. I also just think that teenagers are interesting. It's a time in your life when you're exploring who you are, when you're going through lots of changes, and as a society, we expect teenagers to be a little crazy sometimes. We forgive them a lot more than we forgive adults. So if I decide to write about a character with purple hair, I can do that, and it's not a judgment on the character. Maybe her hair is purple this week, and maybe next week it won't be. She's a teenager. That's what she can do. That's what teenagers do. But if I were to write an adult novel about a grown woman with purple hair, that's a choice. That's a character with a pretty distinct backstory, and the purple hair plays a part in that, and it becomes more about who the character is and less about just having fun and letting the character explore who he or she is. I also think high school is a great setting. You know, almost every teen young adult book takes place in a high school. It's a universal experience that everybody has, and it gives you this great setting that everyone can relate to. Everybody's been in high school at one point in their lives. And high school is this really interesting place where you have all these different people who are thrown together into one school, one classroom, one cafeteria, not necessarily by choice. And that's the basis of conflict in every book, really, is people who don't necessarily like each other having to be together. And what happens when you do that? There are a lot of challenges in transitioning from adult fiction to young adult fiction. I struggled with a lot of things. First of all, there was the whole idea of age appropriateness. When I set out to write my novel, I thought that I was writing for 16-year-olds, and by the time I finished it, it turned out that I actually was writing for 13-year-olds. Another challenge is profanity. I'm a big fan of some of that, and sometimes it's hard to censor myself and to try to come up with a cleaner version of what I want to say when the dirtier version would definitely be funnier and easier. The hardest thing for me, though, in writing for teens is that I'm older than my audience, and so my reference points are totally different from their reference points. I love to write about pop culture and to inject little jokes here and there about 80s TV shows and 70s movies and music into my writing, but it's hard when you're writing for teens because they're not going to get 90% of what I think is funny. My advice would be, first of all, to read as many young adult novels as you can. No matter what kind of novel you think you're going to write, it's really helpful to see what's out there and to read paranormal, to read mysteries, thrillers, girl novels, whatever there is. I would get your hands on it and read it. I found that to be really helpful when I was making the transition from adult fiction to young adult fiction. I also think that it's really important not to stereotype your characters. Don't. It's easy to fall into the trap of, oh, he's, an athlete, and so this is how he behaves. Some really good advice that I got from an editor of mine was that I should try to make my characters do things that are unexpected, try to get them outside of their boxes and have them do things that the reader isn't going to anticipate. And it sounds obvious, but it's an important thing to remember while you're writing. And the other thing that I think is really important is not to treat your characters like they're adults who happen to be going to high school. They're teens, and teens are still kids, and they make stupid mistakes and they do stupid things, and they don't always think about the consequences, and they don't always worry about their future the way that their parents would like them to. And I think that it's really important to reflect that in your writing. I do? Where? Is it here? Here? There? Did I get it? Thanks.